输赢是职业赛场永远绕不开的话题，谁都想成为赢家，但取胜的哲学却不尽相同。是坚持自我更进一步，还是寻求改变重获新生？是昙花一现的意外，还是磨难之后的复苏？
有点大，不过好在的就是这个小兵没有大龙 buff 的一个加成，似乎可以清掉正面想要尝试的击杀玉米，被一个回旋的镖收掉了人头。
是把握机会再创辉煌，还是告别遗憾突破自我？
这个针眼的视野来搞，
这个位置
你来了，
今天很危险，没有进没有闪现。
风走位，
哎呀，还是
这要硬灌死了，硬灌死了。
他这个没有闪现，他这个位置刚说他稳了，村死了。
是年轻无畏，天赋至上，还是王权永恒，强者恒强？一切故事的答案，都将由他们亲自书写。
Yet to come. Like summer nights, rain. I'm gonna dance, tell you my name, and I'm free. You should do the same. Top of my game.
You know, it's that match of the week time here in the LPL. The end of week 4 brings you so much great success. And with RNG and FPX going head to head, this is the battle of the best. The battle of first and second right now. Our two only undefeated teams left in the LPL. And in week number 4, to be undefeated is such a testament. So that's why in RNG's home arena in Beijing, we find ourselves where FPX go into the den to see if they survive. Led by GimGoon in the front, FPX trail their way in. Some familiar faces, as you saw Doinb as well. The holistic person, even opening a Bulbasaur.
I have that at home, baby.
It's the troll one as well. So fantastic taste there from Tian, as getting another look at GimGoon once again. And Raz, some good style here from FPX to open up the day.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They have some nice, Doritos out there. But
as
guess who's looking at themselves right now?
Howdy.
How you doing?
It's RNG. Stake there. If you're looking for a familiar face in coaching staff, that has been a big changeover here for RNG. Still amazing jaywalking through as well. Haven't seen him yet, considering that Langx, who's on your screen right now, has just been performing out of his right mind. And for RNG getting warmed up ahead of this match of the week. Hello and welcome back to the LPL. My name's Jackie Panko, joined by Brento, Raz Muhammad. And Raz, good to see the faces looking keen ahead of today's matchup.
Oh yeah. And one thing you always have to be happy of when you go into Wukesong, be able to see the Beijing venue, it is fabulous. I got to be able to tour through it through one of the older series that we had. And it was fantastic to be able to see what you can do outside of it.
Yeah.
And then when you get into it, you're like, oh my God, how much money they throw at this. Legitimately, it is stacked. Even the washrooms.
Yeah.
But anyways, don't think they'll have a time to be able to get, and check that out, because right now this series is pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's the glorious matchup, the matchup where we have our undefeated teams rising to the podium. And there's a reason, Raz, that these are our strongest teams right now, despite one of them not being a Rift Rivals contender.
Yeah, because you made a point coming into this one. You may not have think you made that point, but I looked at you said first and second.
Yeah.
No one here is second place just yet. It's literally the battle of first and first.
Never said who they were.
Both of them lost to one team because they would have been undefeated in even games as well, because it was best of 3 everybody.
Both LGD, by the way.
Yes,
They
exactly.
dropped the
There we go.
game
LGD was still able to shock some people on that one. But to me, both of these teams come out looking imperfect. You cannot touch them. Insane from RNG, the last split looked like had the greatest weakness, all of it centered towards the top side of the map.
Yes.
And then a little bit stylistically, as they still play towards bot side, and a lot of those issues still came up, but they have refocused. New coaching staff, as well as you had mentioned, Stake comes into the team, come through straight through, jungle mid priority in the early portions of the game. And Langx has just been an excellent addition for the team in the top lane.
And I know we're going to be talking a lot about the top and mid, especially since Xiaohu on RNG is performing out of his mind, going up against Doinb here today. there's an identity of RNG that we need to go back to. And for FPX, one that's rising all the same, it's the bottom lane in Uzi taking on LWX.
Yes, because when everything else gets sorted, when the top lane is working out as expected and the mid lane is thriving, the bottom side of the map, Uzi comes back in action. His laning phase has been incredible.
Yeah.
He's been able to hit near 11 CS per minute. That to me is shocking.
Yes.
And almost hitting, you know what? Round that number up, god damn it. He's 30% in terms of damage percentage. And a lot of it has come down to the fact that, you know, they play to the bottom side of the map a little bit as they go on and really affirm the strength through in the early game through mid lane.
Yeah.
You know, Xiaohu and Karsa nails down mid lane. They start looking at the bottom side of the map. I want to focus a little bit more on LWX, who every split, every year comes through, and he feels a little bit stronger in his last iteration. We've always known for him to be like a very talented individual, and we've always said, you know, top 6 certainly.
Yeah.
You know, there's still Mystic, Uzi, Jackie Love, and
It was
iBoy,
never the top 3 conversation,
SMLZ.
was it?
Exactly. And it feels like you are forced into a situation where you have to come into that talk because that glaring weakness that used to be there, and I'm specifically talking about the fact in team fights he's not patient, goes in and flashes into fights and ends up dying at times, completely wiped away. He is Mr. Patience ever since they brought in the Doinb, and they have confidence in the team play overall. He's been taking his time. So his laning phase is great. His team fighting is great.
Yeah.
So at this point, where's the conversation?
What was the nickname that used to be given to him?
The shotgun.
The shotgun. Well, this time, is it really a shotgun, or is it more like a machine gun that never runs out of ammo?
There we go. I like that because whenever you come down to the whole shotgun discussion, it's because he's able to get right and personal. He is the engaged type of person in an 80 carries body.
Yeah.
If the fight's not happening, he is in the thick of things, getting the fight moving for his team. But he doesn't have to do that, and I think that's a lot of confidence behind who is now Tian and Doinb, and I think that's why the discussion now goes on towards what is now going to be a mid-lane jungle conversation. Yeah. And the footage that we're going to be throwing is, to me, where the game starts off. Because it's going to end at the bottom lane no matter what, but it starts with mid and jungle taking control. It starts with, you know, what you saw in the last series when RNG took on VG Gaming, just outright bullying, right? The principal could have been called in at this point.
Yep.
Where Karsa and Xiaohu consistently are able to put on this pressure. Karsa, I believe, to be the best jungler right now in the LPL and fighting for that in the world. We still need to be able to see like Tarzan and all that and Click be able to come through. Versus when you see FPX, so much of the action there is just, there are a lot of intangibles. They absolutely destroyed LGD in game 1 based off them just swapping lane to lane. Consistently, you know, Tian able to come in and start the action, let alone just like be able to support the action.
Yep.
Remember, he was the 3rd in votes in terms of MVP last split.
Remember?
Last split, it was number 1, the MVP of the split going to Doinb, and number 3 going to Tian.
Yep.
And just to cap that all off, because I've been talking for a long time, has been the fact that at first I thought it was Doinb making Tian look strong because they'd be playing like an inseparable duo. But when FPX went up against RNG and Doinb was like basically tied to his turret, and it was up to Tian to be able to get action rolling on the other side of the map, he was always on this right side of the map, able to get LWX and Crisp ahead, and was able to still get the ultimate game plan of getting his side laners rolling. A big positive. So I think this is going to be our best series of the year. It's happened in week 4.
It's so evenly matched. Across the board, individual matchups are there. Something we'll go into a little bit later as we get closer to the matchup. But Raz, I want to start off with predictions. Something we haven't done here on the LPL
That's
just
true.
yet. This one's important and we have to start things off. I'm just going to drop in first and say that, like, for me, RNG look great, but I'd love your thoughts into the matchup.
You seem very defensive, and you haven't even thrown what you had. You think RNG?
I think RNG look fantastic. I think
You have
this
the
is
right
going to be their
reason to be
season.
defensive.
Yeah.
FPX is going to be my vote. There's a lot of confidence for me because there hasn't been any changes in terms of just synergy. Raw synergy, they've kept the 5 players rolling.
Yep.
Coaching staff is still there, and they have just been outright stomping teams. They haven't been going up against easy opponents too. So for them, the fact that FPX is able to come in with incredibly fast game times, and we're able to do it just through a consistent strategy through mid, I think it's something that RNG still needs to be able to work on, and I think their weak side being Langx still.
Okay.
He's been kind of fishing for opportunities. When I say weak side, by the way, I mean like literally not getting jungle attention. I still think he's been performing fantastically.
Yep.
But jungle attention has been going through mid and then going through bot lane. Langxing's taking some risks, and I think it's more of a housewarming party. Let's talk about the people coming into Beijing today.
Because you're going up against GimGoon in the top lane. Here's FPX, Tian jungle, Doinb the mid, LWX, and Crisp your bottom lane as they are on stage. And Doinb looks very tense while Tian looking pretty happy to be there.
I like to say focused on the prize. When he knows that, like, Doinb is the type of person that he circles a matchup on the calendar.
Yeah.
Last split, it was against his former teams, right? JD, when he was going up against JD, he's like, I need to win in that series.
Yes.
And you saw his emotion after being able to take those victories. He feels like he's on top of the world. This time around, much like it was FPX versus Suning in split 1, he's going to be dancing if he takes this win versus RNG that everyone is hyping up to be the best.
We talked about how important that 2v2 through mid is, and will continue to flourish here as we take a look at RNG and who they're bringing to the field.
That's what happens when you're going up against the hometown hopefuls here of RNG. You're going to be seeing the fans going wild for them. So, of course, in the top lane, you've got him Langx, jungle, Karsa, mid lane, Xiaohu, and then the bottom side of the map, Uzi and Ming.
With Stake right next to them, the coaching change for RNG has been such a big one. 2 new members in Lucian and Stake, and so far RNG continuing to go on the up and up as they say hello to their home crowd in Beijing.
So I love being able to get a glimpse or just like listen in on mic checks.
Yeah.
You know, Royal has actually been putting out their content as well. RNG puts out their Royal check. They call it that. They're able to throw out their own mic checks for the audience. And it's been wonderful to be able to listen to that and get a gauge in how Langx communicates with the with the team, that is. Because boy, that guy calls for a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Because he's confident in his own abilities. So if he feels like he can get a kill on a gang, look for a dive, Langx is calling for it, which is a big change in pace. A lot of the old top laners usually just, focus on the lane, try and ease up as much as the tension's starting to build up in that lane matchup, and then expect that the jungler Karsa is going to be moving towards the bottom side of the map. But he really comes into this team and expects it to be a triple threat.
Because we changed the dynamic where it's always been about Uzi. Taking a closer look at the stat breakdown here for both teams. And one thing I want to add to this as well, Raz, is that for FPX, they had 100% Baron before the LGD series last week. So they're still top of the league in control around the neutral objectives.
A lot of the stats come through. I mean, kills a game, all of that nonsense. For me, whenever you have consistent leads and you're snowballing that consistently on, I mean, average game time is something that I think really means something, where RNG has been the undefeated team, everything, but they're still choosing to play it slowly.
Yeah.
To me, that's the one that matters, not Baron percentage or Dragon percentage, because both these teams have had full control of these games consistently. Now, take a look at this. Past 4 games, something to be in awe of. I love that Syndra game, where he was working alongside Karsa so efficiently, just bullying the jungle matchup, as I had mentioned. Like, being able to see the Gragas cast into, of course,
Scatter the Weak. You don't know where
how
you're
do you
going.
get out of that?
Yeah. It's painful to deal with. I want to come back to your point of RNG, playing a slower game as well. When you're playing that slower game and you have someone like Karma mid for Xiaohu, which has been such a big priority for RNG, easy to facilitate people like Uzi and Langx as well, who come in with that said triple threat.
It's only going to get better in the next patch, too.
Yeah.
Unless if they never get it, because it should just be banned every game. So maybe they're going to be more sad about the fact that it's going to get banned by every team. But yeah, they're the original team that just loves flexing it between both mid, essentially top, and 100% bottom lane. Ming and Uzi really love having bottom lane priority. And if the enemy support's going to pick up like Morgana, let's say an enchanter that's in the meta like Yuumi, then they're like, okay, we'll outpush and outtrade with the Karma support.
Yeah. You're going up against a faster team in FPX as well. Remember that Karma's going to be pretty critical here, as Doinb's already played at mid, but let's not think about the roaming, or let's rather think about the roaming capability towards the bot side for LWX and Crisp as well.
Yeah, and I think that Crisp, a lot of people have called Crisp to, one of the rising supports, best supports, underrated. Whenever someone is like close to being the best, but just out of that picture, they get hit with that underrated bat, the baseball bat that literally spells underrated. I think Crisp's his engaged champions. I think his Tom Kench is something that I enjoy the most.
Okay.
Because his roams through mid lane have been often effective and very much mimic and challenge Ming's. So while we've talked about every literal matchup, to me, a lot of people would look towards what is Ming, the best support in the league. And if we're talking about just all LPL votes, Crisp was pretty damn close. I think he was 3rd place.
Yep.
But he was between 3rd place and 4th place. He was that good of a support last split.
Could have just easily been 2nd as well. So essentially you're putting matchup versus matchup here in our match of the week. RNG and FPX. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the first ever game that RNG in this split have played on the blue side. So let's see what changes up to their usual priority. We've already got the Sejuani, Aatrox, and Ryze in 9.11 banned away. Olaf taken from Karsa as being the big one.
A lot of supports are up and available. Remember the triple support ban last time around. Karma is still up and available. Yuumi still up and available. And the Sona Tark is still now an option.
So when you pick up, you go for the Sylas first. Interesting rotation here from RNG. Leaving the potential of the Rek'Sai, and yes, that Aurelia for FPX.
It challenges the Tark pickup now, because if Tark Ultimate is available for FPX, it's available for RNG now with Sylas. And he is such a great diving champion that it kind of counteracts a lot of that protection that FPX have been rolling up with. So Renekton early on, one of the only teams in the LPL that can effectively utilize Renekton as a flex pick between both mid and top lane.
That's right, LPL being the only region to flex across there to the mid lane as well. Exciting to see how dynamics played through. Tian is such an aggressive early jungler, and his Elise is a speciality.
I'm just, even if it's not the Elise, it's always fun to talk about Elise and Renekton, right?
Yes.
Whenever a team gets frustrated, just gets pissed off, and they're like, how do we deal with that top lane matchup? Lock it in, Renekton Elise, dive it, no matter what. But of course, we have the AP alternative being Gragas.
I mean, you can still dive with the Gragas, still a lot of explosive damage there for Tian in the AP sorts. RNG with their bottom lane, and that Karma we talked about not getting taken away here means RNG just smack that down.
My God, this one's rolling quickly too. Lucian and Karma is just a really dominating bot side, and they don't even know what they're going up against. And so I don't want to be quick to it. Of course, remember Karma, we've already hit on this coming into this day, is that Karma is a great flex pick for RNG. No idea where it's going up against, but if we're thinking about what is up and available, Karma versus a Renekton is a pretty good matchup.
True.
So, especially with the armor that you could pick up with the, Glacial Shroud, Sheen into, my God, I'm blanking on it. Frozen Fist. I'll just say Frozen
Gauntlet.
Fist.
Yep.
I like to, I'll say
Frozen Fist was good, right?
That's
Except
true.
that's the Ornn upgrade, so.
I refuse to call, anyways.
Sorry, continue.
Just the itemizing alone will allow him to deal with the Renekton.
Very true. And at this point as well, if it is going to be top or mid, the Karma has such a good win rate here in the LPL. One of the most popular mid lane champions it has become in this patch. So excited to see it once again, but digressing onto FPX, because at this point, they're starting to ban away junglers from Karsa. Not seeing his priority early is a rare thing from RNG.
Yeah, but taking a look through all the junglers that are available, Lee Sin has been his best. Like, he is a stellar Lee Sin player. And while a lot of people are pretty happy about the the Gragas versus Lee Sin matchup, because you can just body block the Q from him.
Yep.
We've seen a lot of highlight moments from Karsa where he's able to ward hop away from that and create a playoff with his flash. So Karsa is the only jungler that I know that would pick the Lee Sin into this like pretty confidently.
Super hard to ban him out as well. 7 champions played in summer.
Yeah, so we'll see what ends up going for himself. We also saw the hover of the Elise, which is also a pretty viable one for RNG that could get the ball rolling early.
Yep.
And really nailed down what has been a dominant early game laning phase from FPX consistently up until this point.
Well said, Raz, because I see the Caitlyn being hovered here. If we're talking about dominant laning phases, will it be the case? No, the Kaiser instead for LWX.
We get to find out where the damn Karma is going.
Finally.
Yuumi is still up too, so you can get that hellacious Yuumi Karma nonsense with Lucian. And I think that would be the better choice too. So I'm kind of thinking RNG will throw the Karma mid lane, the Sylas top lane, and start drafting the Yuumi here so they have so much to work around Lucian.
Fits so well into the playstyle of Ming too, but we're going to find a jungler in this same rotation, and you mentioned the Elise, finally a bit more AP damage coming through for RNG.
Yeah, I mean, we just have to see what potentially Xiaohu ends up rolling with if he gets the Karma. But it has to be decided in the next 20 seconds what the composition is going to be, and it's already, I would say, it's pretty heavily AP on this squad. You look towards the Karma, Elise, and Sylas. A lot of focus is there for Lucian deal damage. If he falls behind, this composition is already lights out.
Oh, it's going to be a Karma support though.
There
so
we go.
At the end of the day, we've got a big front line for Langx, and there's going to be a Sylas into the mid lane.
A lot of pick potential. A lot of pick potential. I mean, you're right in the maybe because the Sion could go anywhere, but at the same time, at the end of the day, the composition is there. The pick potential with both, the Abduct, the Elise Cocoon, the Q potentially from Sion. They have a lot rolling with the Protect and already well-protected Lucian. So in teamfights, RNG looks pretty stacked, but there we go.
One way of negating pick potential, you got oranges on the Gangplank. It's a small part of it, but to see GimGoon return on this pick is quite exciting, being one of the better top lanes in the league.
Yeah, and he gets himself a melee match up top. So, in my mind, you look at this and say, great, we have great early game pressure through mid lane with the Renekton and Gragas there too. So much just sit there and listen, right?
Yeah.
Not only do you press W if you're Renekton, get the body bop ready. I'm concerned for Xiaohu if Karsa doesn't get him rolling. That gank potential is very real. And GimGoon can just, throw up barrels, keep the lane safe, be able to farm up and harass the Sion at times. There are so many options for both teams. I'm personally liking FPXs.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of the rare cases we actually see the GP in the top side with Klepto. It's hard to get him into a matchup where he doesn't have to take Grasp of the Undying, so opportunity for the snowball to come through from GimGoon.
I wouldn't like the Klepto.
Okay.
Sion still has a lot of early damage.
That's very true.
There's a lot of concern when it comes to that, so that's something that I would put out there, and also you just need to have the extra HP that Grasp of the Undying ends up giving you. So we'll see. We'll see what his level of confidence ultimately is.
Okay.
Because GimGoon's the type of person that ultimately puts himself in bad situations and tries to be like, I'm confident with the rest of my team on the bottom side of the map. I'll just start farming.
Yep.
I'll take the late game option. I don't want him to go that late game, but see what his mentality actually is. And the best thing about the GP here is because there's so much front line there for RNG. The GP ultimate just says, nah, you're taking this slow. You're taking the DPS no matter what. And the barrels, if you can't touch them, Lucian, you're going to have to auto-attack.
On top of that, very hard to get to the GP. A lot of displacement here from the FunPlus Phoenix composition. And part of seeing that Renekton mid again just adds to it, Raz.
And take a look at this, because honestly, this may be the last time you see it till we get to that LPL finals. Both undefeated teams.
Yes.
Both championship mentality. It's going to be fun to see RNG and FPX get on the field.
Sitting equal first. Once again, FPX 5-0, RNG 4-0 as we come in to our match of the week here at the end of week number 4. Remember one thing. Only one team will be standing on top after we debut this explosive matchup.
I want to see the map already. Get me in there. 1 minute, and they refused to show me what was happening in the level 1s. Upset. Literally a full minute. Where are the wards? I mean, this is a pretty defensive stance, so it doesn't seem like there are any wards deep in. FPX, once again, all of these awards are pretty defensive except for... No, they actually didn't want to do anything in the level 1. That's actually pretty impressive. Seeing that, I think FPX's level 1 is pretty good.
Yeah, a lot of lockdown there. Gives us time, for the first time in the LPL history, to actually break some things down. Colonel has gone above and beyond, more so than he has ever done. I feel like this split, Raz, heavily skewed towards RNG.
Interesting. I'm surprised about that, mostly because early portions of the games have been going towards FPX, so he has some explaining to do.
He's looking at the composition, the Lucian Karma down in the bottom lane against the Karsa. That can be very defensive matchup, as you can see here. Ming already just kicking it off.
That's why it's fun to talk about the rune choices here, because that's going to be inspiration across the board for RNG.
Yeah.
I want to see how many of them actually went towards stopwatch, because ultimately the Comet being picked up by Ming is, for me, just, it's always a discussion between Airy and Comet. He just said, I want the ability to shove in lane and have presence here. So already making his name known, a lot of chunk on LWX's name.
Yeah, the more aggressive option, of course, and Comet up against the Lux is going to be just burning down even quicker. As to your question, Raz, only one stopwatch, and that's on the side of FPX.
Oh, there we go. I suppose they're just pretty focused on biscuits, generally speaking.
Yep.
We're in a pretty good spot right now. I think right now for RNG, a lot of focus towards the lanes, ultimately, and to answer the question about GP's keystone choices, yeah, he going towards the Gragas and Dying. A lot of damage that can just pop onto your head.
But ultimately, a safer lane there for GimGoon anyway. But we had a lot of focus on the 2v2 through the mid lane. Now we're going to look at the 1v1 Doinb in a very bad trade. Xiaohu just coming up huge.
That was great. And on top of that, at least the lane's pushing in, but you can already see Karsa. This is very much mimicking the last time FPX and RNG faced off against each other in the regular season. Doinb found himself a victim to the tower dive.
With ingenious pathing through the gap in vision control. That's where Karsa is. Cocoon flash over the wall. Doinb gets the revenge kill from RNG themselves.
Happened again. Doinb didn't see it coming. The concern when you get poked like that, you know, you feel safe. You're like, at least the wave's pushing into me.
And this is an early TP. Look at FPX. They want to go themselves. The Cocoon, the flash forward with the body slam. Karsa doesn't have the repel just yet. The light binding doesn't connect. Doinb flashes forward onto Karsa. The shield not enough to save the day. It's 3 versus 1. Xiaohu feels the brunt of it himself. FPX, you thought they were going to slow down. Even Uzi coming up, getting the trade-off won't be good enough. The flash over the wall from Xiaohu. Disengage while Uzi. He needs the help of Ming. The flash over from LWX. AD carry versus AD carry. And FPX prevail. Now equaling up the kill count.
There are 2 champions right now on the map. LWX and Xiaohu, but it's not over just yet. Ming, get out of there.
He's going to run back to his turret, gets a lockdown onto LWX, or at least tries, getting a favorable trade, but at this point, double buffs go to the AD carry. And like you said, Raz, mid versus bot is now the case.
That's crazy to be able to see that happen this early on. We said it was going to happen through 2v2 in mid, but you expected FPX to take it slow after this one. You'll not only lose your life, you lose the wave, but Tian says, nah, we're taking this one more time. Karsa caught out guard. You thought there was a little bit of, you know, safety coming through as Ming was coming in to help. Wow. But of course, that was a sick poke coming in from LWX. And he caps it off from following through. Eyes on Uzi immediately because while he was able to, you know, help out the kill, yeah, you ain't getting an exit strategy on this one. Flash is over, but still gets followed by LWX.
So many summoners burden that engage, and across the board, looks like everything's down apart from that top lane, and Ming luckily surviving with both of his.
And right now, if I'm Karsa, I'm pretty happy about that.
Okay.
You have more options. No flash on Renekton. No flash towards the bottom side either. Sure, I think Crisp is in a pretty comfortable position, but if we're talking about shutdown gold, you get those. Let's see. Right now, Elise is always going to be someone you want to be able to track. And I think FPX wants to do that now more than ever, knowing that 2v2 is not going to be in favor of FPX any longer. So much gold being, you know, injected into Xiaohu that he's going to be able to do a lot.
He's already ahead by about 15 CS in this mid lane, picking up a revolver before the 5-minute mark. Even doesn't matter what time, because at this point, Xiaohu does that with an item that should not be received until that 10 minutes.
Because just like run this through once more. Going to be your verbal replay. The fact that not only that mid lane dive happens, Doinb loses the entire wave.
Yep.
Comes right back and another kill goes through the Xiaohu. He actually was just the biggest winner of the first 4 minutes of the game.
And the fact that the Sylas has so much control, yet the bottom lane with Karsa nearby still has to respect the Lucian karma, means that RNG all around have control more so than FPX. And Chris needs a binding, or at least needs to get Tian into this lane.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to be looking towards the defensive wards RNG ends up placing out. That's been a strong facet to their game because we already saw in the initial graphic, they're right now in terms 11th place in terms of average game time for a team that's undefeated and has dictated a lot. They've been going towards late game composition so frequently, and it's mostly because not only is it something comfortable for them, but Karsa is just such a great shield for his lanes. So I already see a few wards coming through just in case Gragas is trying to turn a bot side push or try and get the shutdown gold on Xiaohu.
I got full vision of him as well. Tian was spotted out doing the Gromp, but in the same retrospect, Karsa over the Dragon, just crossing the bridge into the enemy jungle. Tian's going down there right now, so there's good warding from both sides and just as good tracking here from Tian over in FPX.
Oh, he's going to get some hurt on this tower. Could he get tower plating?
Bit of demolish there. He should be able to find at least one.
Yeah!
GimGoon in a very good position in this lane. He has Sheen, so against the Glacial Shroud, not bad, but Gangplank, get ready for those ults.
That's when you're feeling pretty happy as a GP player, is when you are so confident not in just the matchup and how the game is panning out on the top side that you're able to go for that. Only concern is if Karsa ends up finding that top lane gank, no added sustained HP, no nothing, on GimGoon, the damage that you're seeing that Langx has will stand and the dive will be easier. That's something that's always been a consistent point of focus when GP's in the meta versus a tank top laner, right?
Yep.
So you're like, Sig, perfect. You know, GP in these matchups are great. But then you realize that, you know, when you're dealing with a Poppy or a Sion, that's even easier dive that they can happen on top of the GP. So you just have to be constantly thinking, be the most suspicious of everything on the map. Am I getting dived on this wave? Make sure. Check every rip, every bush.
Tian's up there to negate anything happening in that top side, though. So at this point, if you see 2v2 in the top side, expect Tian to be coming in with Predator now picked up on his tier 1 boots. And Tian actually, on that note, farming better than Karsa. Karsa's still trying to be proactive, still looking for that level 6 mark, so he gets a bit more movement speed in his spider form. And we'll be picking up the red buff, so that should be coming soon.
hasn't amounted towards an experience difference just yet. And at the moment in time, it's going to be real fun to be able to see where Tian ends up moving, because having to clear top side fully and get a good base off for himself so he has some AP underneath his belt. Bot side for me was ultimately going to be his destination. I think everybody knew that with how consistent Uzi and Ming were pushing up, that this was the lane you wanted to upset. Otherwise, I mean, that's going to be free turret plate in gold. They should be able to take the turret at like, what, 12-minute mark.
Yep.
And you will never, even if you want a lane swap, you won't get that opportunity with these, like this many minion waves coming at you.
And that's culling out as well. Big ultimate there from Uzi to push the wave, but LWX doesn't really get shoved out too hard. A bit of turret plating to be taken. Finally goes over to RNG's bottom lane, but Tian is still here. Xiaohu spotted roaming towards the bottom side on a ward. But Tian's still not making the move, going for the clear, leaving his bottom side on the island for a little bit longer.
But that's the concern now. It wasn't just going to be the 2v2 pressure. It was going to be the 3 or 4v2 pressure, but here comes Doinb.
He's finally got the shove at the mid lane. This is what we're talking about with FPX. Cannon Barrage coming down the flash forward with the light binding, but Chris gets turned on by Uzi. Exhausted out, but can they get the return kill? Uzi wants it, but a double bump, double Q, double kill for LWX.
4 kills on LWX at the 9-minute mark. So well played. It was just a fake pivot from Xiaohu to be able to come back, bot side, see if he can hover and push them off the wave, and then go right back mid. Didn't expect Doinb and Tian to just be able to move there so quickly.
Double kill again.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Uzi on this one.
The bottom side, he's trailing towards Blade of the Ruined King. Now Manamune just picked out outright here for LWX instead of completing the Storm Razors.
I mean, that's just, to me, when you're able to get that so early, to your point about the Storm Razors, you don't get the stats immediately, but that's just so quick that you're able to start building on it. Take a look at this. So GP ultimate setup immediately keeps them interested with the Lux binding. Now Uzi and Ming are committed to this play. And because they were forced to commit with no one in the area to help, easiest double kill you can find.
Everyone looks at Lux shield and says, wow, that sucks. And yeah, Crisp right now, of course, going to be the W max here, so getting very frustrating for RNG while in that replay, everyone's moved to the top side. Even, I believe, Rift Herald dropped down as well and went to the side of RNG, so a small window to play through the potential top side where everyone started grouping.
That's what happens when you start, diving deep into replays. This is my replay warning. Because at the 10-minute mark, you're definitely going to be rotating to the most important, investment on the map, which is the Rift Herald. And, RNG were able to get a hit on that first, so good job to them. They needed to make that move. If they lost not only the bottom side fight, but the rotation up top lane and the Rift Herald, they are going to be on the back foot for so long.
The FPX were matching that very easily. Doinb in the mid lane, careful. Conqueror going to get procced on his way out. But meanwhile on the top side, LWX has found himself into Langx. Now this sign is very squishy, going to regret being born in a second. At half health, the ultimate comes in, Killer Instinct runs into an ulti himself, has to flash out, but Tian's here. Get ready, big fat boys running into ya. Tian picks up one, and now FPX, the race is on with Rift Herald bot and FPX to the top side.
Yeah, but their wave is pretty far off, so I think they need to take the long run. In fact, I know our camera's not panning over there, but Karsa, I think, took a few turret shots to be able to get the job done.
That's true.
So RNG already have the first push, just sacrificing Langx in the entire point.
They're going to be close to matching in gold as well after getting this first turret, and FPX so far off in that top side. Karsa knocking away, but RNG back to that 20k gold at 12 minutes, trailing FPX.
They don't have to concern themselves with the dragon that's coming up too. Take a look at that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because now they didn't even have to fully push it up top side. They're going to be rotating up, and they might be there just in time. LWX and Chris will have the longest back timing I've ever seen.
Thank you, Chris. Just going to knock down the wave to make it a little bit quicker. Langxing's here, and
oh no,
this turret doesn't go down.
Defend it.
So RNG just holding strong to a degree.
Yeah, that's why Sion ended up going top lane. There's going to be 3 people top, and if you're FPX, you need to extract your members, because that might turn into a larger fight.
Xiaohu on the walk has Proto Belt now as well, so even more flexible moving around the map. Ming's joined the fray, and 5 members to the top side, while Gangplank farms the bottom. Side waves here for FPX.
That feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're RNG right now. Not only do you have a longer lane, bottom lane to work with and start punishing GimGoon, but you have a dual lane that's well protected with a tower up top side. Literally winning on both sides.
Yeah.
Where's Sion been, actually?
I will say, however,
he's coming.
GimGoon now 40 CS ahead. So while there are windows for RNG, or rather a lot of wins on the board after what the early game became, GP's 40 CS. I almost says Trinity Force, but hang on, Chris might be called out. Culling comes through. Not enough attack speed there from Uzi to keep it going. Tian walking around, gets hit by the cocoon, launched on by a spider. You're in the great Western Outback as they launch down. Explosive cast. Now onto Karsa, they turn it. LWX locks him down. Xiaohu in for the flank, has the explosive cast himself, but LWX is taking on the 1v1 while Doinb jumps in. The final spark is the final moment for RNG, but FPX gets dangerously low. Xiaohu still running in while Uzi gets Doinb in the fray. Now FPX with 3 members. Are they going to go back in?
This is what you love about teleport not being cancelable. Every individual person just teleporting in has their own battle to fight.
Yeah.
Renekton's like, I can't get out of this one, so I'm going to get the kill. You better back me up with that, Lux ultimate. Gets a kill off of that. So congratulations to him. When you put in a bad situation, he's like, I'm going to get something at least.
Thought GimGoon would come in as well, but he knew better in the end. The Gangplank get farming the bottom lane while all the shenanigans were happening topside. And Tian wanted to skirt around top, but Karsa nailed him down with a cocoon.
Take a look at the gold that's being flown through into the GP. And of course, this was turret plating, so that turret gold coming right now into the GimGoon's pockets. He is more stacked than this really indicates.
Yeah. I assume he's got the doubloons upgrade by this point as well. By the way, that's a Trinity Force when we next come out of this replay, Raz.
Yeah, 40 CS advantage. Of course, Crisp took as many bullets as 50 Cent did, able to get out of that one free. But take a look at this. This was the most ridiculous moment because this is where Tian was able to body bop into the spider, but able to turn it back. You're like, all right, I guess they turned it back again, able to get the kill on towards Karma. I had no idea up to this point, with about like 10 seconds into the fight, who was going to ultimately win off of it.
Yep.
Of course, Uzi still had a lot of DPS to be able to throw at Doinb, able to come out as the ultimate victor.
Hard to track that, but in the end, I mean, LWX still survived, has a big bounty on his head, so Negate's giving some of that gold over to Xiaohu once again. The Karsa is bigger than the, I was going to say Shyvana, that is a Sylas in the mid lane for RNG.
At the end, for me, even though RNG are on the back foot, like that's something you still have to be able to tell the story of. Guinsoo's Rage Blade being picked up by LWX, he's already at a ridiculous state
Almost
in this game.
outright as well.
My concern is going to be on towards that, the GP, all the items coming through on FPX, but RNG is still in a great position defensively speaking.
Yep.
The turret up top lane didn't get taken down. And Sion is able to do just fine on the bottom side of the map. At least this is smart from FPX.
Yeah.
They needed to find a way to pull RNG into them. And this Cloud Dragon has been really limiting their ability to do that.
Infernal will do it though.
There we go. Roll the dice and see what you get.
And FPX just continuing to pressure that bottom side now. 5 minutes. The timer begins. Key item choice that we skimmed over there as well. Spirit Shojin picked up for Doinb. So rare to see this first item on the Renekton before the Black Cleaver, but that's a big power spike he can play to in a lane that he was so heavily losing.
I think it's always a good item choice as a first item, as a first buy. Okay. I think he's been able to do so much with it the few times he's played the Renekton mid lane.
You might see it in fruition now. Conqueror out. He's dodged everything from Xiaohu. Doinb actually pushing back heavily. Crisp is nearby alongside Tian. Doinb will able to make wonders as Xiaohu just pops the Dominus straight away.
There we go. Now I can walk up to you. Doesn't have to concern about a possible dive either. He's just in a great spot. One thing great about Spirit Sojourn is literally just the recipes of it. Like BF Sword, Kindle Gem, CDR that it has. Literally a lot to deal with.
I hear a Sion ulti as Chris Williams gets burnt down. Where did Sion come from? The flash forward from Xiaohu. We look towards mid lane. Langx runs into Doinb. Tian, Predator to get out of there. Doinb saving his jungler's life. So is the Gangplank with the flash forward from Langx. They want the Gragas, but they're not going to find it. They run through the Cannon Barrage, and RNG forced to get that kill.
MVP Doinb on that one. Just stopping the Sion in his place, and even sliced over, just in case anyone tried to, throw any skill shots at him, just can dice over the wall. So, great call, and all of that literally just bought more time for GimGoon.
Yeah, he's not stopping. Give him some demolish, yeah.
My God, he's literally looking at his Rolex that he just bought 2 minutes ago.
He's 60 CS up now.
And he's like, yeah, time's on my side.
RNG have to make a response. It's the time to push the top lane, it seems, with Ming and Uzi making the play. Themes picked up here for Ming, so a lot of safety with the duo lane, but the rest of the map is FPX's, even this mid.
Take a look again. We had a discussion about this before the game started, but RNG has pretty much a mid-range to melee composition.
Yeah.
Like, no one has the range effective enough to deal with a double or triple barrel that GimGoon can throw in these team fights. So, if you remember those iconic moments of, let's say, zooms, teleport, flank with his barrels, all of that's pretty possible. It doesn't even have to teleport. You can just move towards major objectives, throw it in a bush, and if you walk anywhere near it, you get bursted.
Bit of armor built up early here for RNG, but that's going to get to the point where that second item being what looks to be a Sterix Gauge just starts smacking down people. GimGoon level 13. And having a good time here. Langx just pokes him out, but he can't get anything done. And there's so much ward coverage in that bottom side river that GimGoon feels safe continuing to shove.
Take a look at the movement speed that you constantly have off that too. That's always the fun part about it.
Yeah.
You're able to get, especially with the Phage, Trinity Force nonsense, that just adds more to the mix. So GimGoon's working with a lot of the Q or CC that technically Langx can provide, except for that one he can walk out of.
GimGoon still going to trade back and forth. I was perusing the gold leads there, Raz, and Xiaohu no longer has anything over the mid lane. In fact, it's quite even, surprisingly, for Doinb and how FPX have been trading these objectives. But the bottom side is still LWX's, top side still GimGoon's.
Nice ward.
As he's brought himself down a toy buddy, but yeah, the ward's going to spot him out. Langx still able to push out, and Doinb can't get in the lane.
Just buys time. Allows RNG to focus towards the mid lane, start getting that one shoved out, knowing that Renekton chose a different option, but hey, he's going to get himself a nice red buff.
Tian, or Karsa rather, nowhere nearby. He's up to the top side, getting vision ready for this Baron that spawns in 15 seconds, and RNG have control, looking for that pick that we talked about with the composition.
So this is where you start to concern yourself, because not only is Baron coming up in a minute's time, Infernal Dragon is. And I'm pretty damn happy with the amount of DPS FPX has towards a potential Baron.
Yeah. Oh, I hear Predator proc from Gragas, ulted from LWX. The shotgun back at it again, but this time he's got so many clips in the mag. Jumps on down. Karsa's dead. Tian, explosive cast before he goes golden to Xiaohu. Into the mix in Doinb, but Tian, explosive cast the wrong way and dies. Now for Chris on the back line, getting aggressed by Langx, but even he survives. Final sparks out, and FPX have hit from every angle. Xiaohu to go golden, but LWX on the backside still so many elements to look at, but FPX control them all in that 4-for-1 fight.
The snowball is real on that one. Because you're right, LWX just went right in there. If you don't have vision of that bush, I'm going to put my head in the bush. Checked it himself, had to deal with the Sion for the entire fight, but still had, Doinb and GimGoon just dive straight through.
They run into this fight head first, they run into the Baron the same way. 7k gold lead, Purple Worm at 21 minutes in, and RNG looking outplayed here in game one.
There's no way you can come into this one. At this point, you're talking about gold lead that's already starting to surmount. FPX have it. You're talking about compositions, you have the GP that has not just the damage, but man, he is pretty beefy right now with the Sterix Gauge.
Yep.
And then you have LWX, man. The moment LWX hits his Muramana, when it's fully stacked, he has everything he needs.
Asher's Tooth there as well, being the common go-to build, but 3 items at this point. 703 Karsa. Even Doinb is back on board in a game where you think he shouldn't be.
Yep, third evolution is going to be there for him. Just that movement. And I was concerned because the teleport comes in, the flank's there at a proper time, but Xiaohu's put in a really tough position, completely flanked by members. And guess where Doinb goes alongside GimGoon? Straight towards Doinb.
Yeah.
Get out. And they just keep finding new members to it because they're a 2-man wrecking crew. So Karsa says, okay, I'll just keep the Sion interested. Their front line is no longer there to help them out.
And the Karma at this point, shields are not doing enough because he just can't save them. Doinb might be caught out though, into dominance onto Karsa. Repel upwards as light binding comes through. Ming almost dies, but they find Doinb. Langx is tagged, but there's no follow-up here for FPX. So RNG getting a pick at this point is what they can hope for.
At this point, the Observer is just making a joke out of all of this because you're like, oh, this is looking good for RNG. Pans over to the opposite side of the map and GimGoon's just reaping up the gold.
Yep.
So he's like, yeah, you feel good about this? Because you shouldn't, with the tower now going down.
FPX at almost 10k gold
Plural.
ahead at 22 minutes, Raz. Yeah, mid as well. So at this point, they can back safely. They can pick up what looks to be 3rd item. I noticed you were looking heavily at the Manamune when it will be stacked, and now LWX has it all.
He's got it golden. And now the last thing, I feel like what this game will be decided by is this Infernal Dragon.
Yep.
FPX will possibly have a second Infernal Dragon to their name with a 7-0-3 Karsa. This is a nightmare scenario.
Yes.
I'm awake, but it feels like I'm dreaming.
And we're not even at the point where GimGoon is going to one-shot people. This is the issue. That we'll get that double Infernal. LWX is the nightmare scenario, but You know, there's always a mode greater than Nightmare mode, and that is the 3-4 item Gangplank that GimGoon's going to have with it.
I guess we're going to be taking a look at the replay here. Bottom, lower left. Yeah, I mean, we technically already saw all of this when it was happening at full time. He was able to take 2 people to such a short margin on his own, but obviously don't do that. You don't want to throw away your lead and give them the only opportunity they technically have. They're grouping up pretty heavily. Take a look at what's going through. A massive pings through mid lane because they want to get this mid lane wave coming in at the same time.
Top lane looks like it's pushing up as well for FPX, so good wave management here. As RNG getting shoved towards the bottom side. At least they have some semblance of wave clear, but the dive potential from FPX is so heavy.
And take a look at the top lane wave at the same time.
Oh, we don't have time. Is Lucian a tank? I'm not even sure. Ulti comes out from Chris once again. Doinb getting tagged heavily, but the shield comes through. Tian tagged as well. Uzi starting to pump out some damage, but they still can't get a pick on FPX.
At least they got them pushed off. Baron buff is gone, and they were able to completely get them off the map, at least for now. I'm just taking a look at the jungler and mid laner, Doinb and Tian, but oh no, please get away.
Get a stack on the spider. Thank you very much, says GimGoon. Level 15 Gangplank. It continues.
But they were put in a pretty tough position. RNG did the right thing forcing a fight there. Not only were they piling up both mid and bot lane waves, but the top lane minion wave was doing well on its own. It was slow pushing into RNG.
Yep.
If they didn't force a fight there, they were going to lose that inhibitor tower. So, great call to force the fight, push them off, and give themselves a second chance.
This chance comes around the Baron, comes around the Infernal we talked about. Very similar timers in your top left and top right corner is. Tian's actually low as well, so one Cocoon means he's caught out, means the damage comes through. RNG able to get the top lane turret as well, and Vision now in the favor of RNG, but I say for now.
Yeah, because Visional is only as strong as literally how your lanes can support it. So now that they're starting to lose both mid and top lane push, yeah, that's going to get completely reclaimed. You can already see a ward being cleared up in a way. It's always fun. As a side point as we move into this, whenever we look at stats and it's like vision cleared, like wards cleared, and it's always like, let's say the worst teams, right?
Yep.
The reason for that is because they lose control so frequently of the game that they had to replace their vision, completely re-clear the enemy team's vision. So it's like always a back and forth. That only really is a claim to teams going back and forth in their games. Not so much how good they are at controlling vision.
For sure.
So it's one of those situations you look at that and you're like, yeah, you have control for now, but how your lane's doing though?
Able to get some wards towards the Baron pit. You can see Karsa actually prioritizing that first, but that double Infernal we talked about, RNG not stepping anywhere near it.
Yeah, can't touch it. You can't. You look at what damage RNG has. Remember, the composition they have right now is pretty damn focused on how well Uzi's doing for himself.
Yeah.
Right now, he hasn't even had his first Zeal item completed. I would assume that it's going to be a rapid-fire cannon, but could very easily be like Phantom Dancer if he's concerned for his life.
If you're RNG, you're so upset that that Baron timer is not closer to the Infernal that is now being taken down by FPX.
Yeah, you are. In fact, FPX are trying to take as much as time from RNG as possible. They can't take that turret.
This was second best to get the mid lane turret, which they still don't receive. Getting out of there quick smart, but now into the Baron or mid lane, FPX can choose either.
They lose control of the mid lane wave. If you're FPX, clear out this one wave, then go back to Baron and force it. You're in a great position.
They found Tian. Langx pops the ulti, but to what?
Yeah, I don't know.
I heard you tutting.
I don't know what that was.
RNG grasping at straws here, Raz. Look at where Xiaohu is. He might be caught out by Doinb, who can now take the 1v1. Pops into Dominus. The mid lane matchup goes at it while Chris finds himself with Langx, who doesn't have the ulti. But Doinb is just taking down Xiaohu. He has the better Dominus, of course, while the mid lane goes down. And we look to the top side. Tian smacks down to the explosive cast. I'll have a jug of ale, please. Tian picks off one with the help of LWX. And now Karsa joins the party. It's a 9-for-0 Karsa that leads the charge, and GimGoon almost catches up the last.
You can take this wave. Yeah, you have to flash because you're in the middle between a rock and a hard place.
That is a level 16 Gangplank who leads the charge. Doinb teleports in, and FPX want to end the game against RNG right here.
You have a lot of melee on that team, so it's going to be difficult for them to get the job done.
That's a cannon barrage coming down. It was placed underneath the turret, or rather, maybe it was Xiaohu who used it.
Yeah, it was.
So defending the top lane turret doesn't work out, but the inhibitor for now.
So they couldn't go for a siege on that one just because if you look at their comp, I mean, what can you do? Got the Renekton GP. but they're going for a good one. Pull RNG over in what could be the last fight of this game.
It's been commendable for RNG to hold on for this long with an 11k gold disadvantage, but with the Baron, this could be it. Lucian coming in, Ming trying to get the snipe, but he just gets evaporated. LWX ults into Uzi. Have at him, mate! LWX gets the second one. Now looking for a third. He goes gold with a cool pose on the side. Chris joins the party, but LWX flushes away from the final spark. Xiaohu looks for his pick, but he can't get it either. Send an explosive cast, send Chris, who narrowly misses, and even GimGoon, he's having a great old barbecue. Lamb is back on the menu, boys, with explosive cask in the follow-up. FPX want the kill, they want the game end. And Tian's going to find him, body bops into Xiaohu, who gets him in the end, but Raz, it doesn't matter, because FPX want to end it right here.
Karma's going to be up 10 seconds until Lucian is up. Ooh. They can look to defend this because they took a lot of time focusing too many members to taking the kill on towards Sylas. So actually a great job of buying time.
Very true.
Because if you keep one member, I think FPX actually end the game right there, where they actually expended 2 people to try and get the kill, and they lost the jungler at the end of the day. So that's a small mistake, but it's more so a huge window that Xiaohu gave his team.
Very well spotted there, Raz, getting up in the heat of the moment where now RNG with that defense, this is the opportunistic moment that will have to present itself to them.
When you get put in the moment, I'm also just talking about the players themselves. You have to have tab open and available and seeing the death timers for a lot of these people because, that was the most relevant part of all of this. GP did a lot of work. Renekton put in so much effort on Xiaohu as well. So this should be an open and done case. Karsa bought a little time. Xiaohu made the great run. I'm not too interested on this one that started it all, but if you want to see it, LWX was a madman. Take a look at this one. Challenge is easy. It's a very easy 1v1, but this was even more impressive. Just hug the wall. Don't get hit by anybody, right? And then flashes over when Lux thinks that he can get you. It wasn't even Lux, it was Xiaohu's Lux ultimate because that's even more damage.
I'm curious to go to live because we're just going back into it, but you're
right.
Now
Let's see that replay one more time.
11-0-4 after that replay. Here's the Sonya's Hourglass. That's why he looked cool in a pose. Doinb's up the top side, FPX through the bottom, and it's all party in the mid lane. As LWX does it again, the repel up, but final spark comes down. He wants to get Karsa, he finds him. They're going to find a second one in RNG. We're just buying time in this game. Doinb slices and dices his way through, but RNG, after they're all cut up, all said and done, and give a triple over to LWX, they're in a deficit because FPX came into this game number 1 so damn well.
Still faster than the average LPL game time. Once again, FPX, when they get that lead, they go in head first.
With a lead like that at the start, after what was such a dangerous position they'll put into. Karsa's early gank. And I thought, RNG playing to the tune of FPX, but then they're like, nah, we can do it better.
But it's a great game of just gold allocation. Where's the gold going? First 2 kills on Xiaohu, first 2 kills on Karsa. Ooh. Where's the next 2 kills? Doinb and Tian go bot lane, as we had talked about before this game even began. That link from mid jungle to the bottom side of the map happened again. LWX gets 2 more kills. 4 kills now. And then you start seeing the plays come through, and guess who's always benefiting when the fight happens? GimGoon just chopping at minions, chipping at turret plating. He was the richest GP in the planet. That was literal Gangplank.
And we didn't even see him get to the point where he's going into fights and kills 3 members before it's begun. So
it's unfortunate. I think RNG after the first few fights, especially when Sylas rotated bot side and they just didn't have the defensive vision. I think that's what it came down to.
Yep.
Because that was a great position for RNG. That they were trying to push, the dual lane off the turret. They didn't have the vision to recognize that Doinb wasn't just following the Sylas.
Yep.
He had rounded up Tian, and they were making that mission to the bottom side of the map a reality.
Yeah. So for FPX, I'll sit on the hype train a little bit longer because for RNG, bigger discussion, we can have one shortly. But FPX, they're looking so good in summer, and I know it's only been game 1, but their control and the way they've shaped things up from spring to summer, keeping their core identity, but just minimal mistakes.
Yeah, minimal mistakes. I think for them, they still feel like they should have been the LPL finalists of spring.
Of course.
The reality of it, they were in semifinals. They were lodged there because they were the first place team in the spring split. They were looking good. Game 4, they had all that lead. They got the Baron buff, and guess what ended up happening? Those mistakes you were talking about that they were avoiding now, they made back then. And it costed them the series, not only in just Game 4, but then you move into the Game 5 situation, certainly costed them there. So they're a team that is now so hyper-focused on when they get those leads, cleaning it up, grouping up together, and knowing when to call it quits. Certainly there for FPX.
You look at the minimal criticization. The criticism, sorry. You okay? Sorry.
The criticalnessization.
Time for big words, apparently.
You go for it.
The smallest thing you can criticize is towards the top side and overextending for kills.
Yes.
Right? And that's always something small.
Yes. For the individuals, specifically for LWX, who had a stellar game to do today as well.
Yeah.
Like, LWX this game was super focused within the team fights. When he made that one key play you pointed out, just ulting right into the thick of it, he recognized how much time he could buy for his team and when to go for it. Because if you look towards LWX in the past when he was on, like, let's start naming them. When he was on Newbie, when he moved over to the other squads as well, that he was able to get to those points but still have that core weakness. When he was on FPX before Doinb came in, of having so much gold within his pockets, because his early game stellar.
Yes.
Throws himself into a team fight, throws it away, right? But that has not been the case for LWX, and that's why they're able to come out so strong in these games.
This lived up to the hype. Game number 1 only just finished, but game 2, I'm expecting a whole different cannonball to come forward in our match of the week right after this.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the LPL Insights. This is Raz here. We're bringing you the best gameplay possible of the LPL players. Last week, Jackie Love and Baolan locked in Sona and Tark in Game 3 against EDG. Let's take a look what would happen when the world champs played that crazy combination down in the bot lane. As you can see, Jackie Love and Baolan are having a real tough time in lane, expectedly pushed, poked, and battered by Lux and Sivir. Tark and Sona heal, and Klepto potions were keeping them in by just a hair. Answering the call, Ming comes directly bot lane trying to help lend a hand. Now here comes the gameplay. Wait! Turn right! Turn right! Alright, warning shots. Yeah, Jackie Love knows it's on him to right the wrongs. 11:30 on the dot, and check it out. Jackie was nailed by Lux's binding to draw out the rats. Hold out baits to entice the enemy. Feign disorder and crush him. Jackie too. Eyeboy and his ability to achieve strategic nirvana, lost all bodily control and expended summoners. After the kill, Jackie Love and Baolang get right back on track, cash out on their quest goal. They slay dragons, take towers, everything's going all right. Until Jackie Love goes shopping. Look at the map! She's right there! Let's get back to the game. In the final Baron fight, Sona and Tarek show is right back on track. Tarek casts Cosmic Radiance first to protect his teammates from danger, getting Invictus Gaming a better formation to keep the team fight rolling. Sona starts healing, an accurate crescendo helps Ning get Scout. Jinu flashes in trying to kill Jackie Love, but with a great healing from Sona and Tarek, it's all good. He doesn't have a single shot. Avert your eyes from the Shy in the back 1v9ing. Invictus Gaming finished the game off with that ace. With that win, Invictus Gaming broke their losing streak, and let's see whether the champs can replicate this type of performance to get back on track in the split.